We finally get to play as Red XIII in Final Fantasy Rebirth. He's a powerhouse, but you need to learn how to utilize his kit. So let's get into it, yeah? His basic combo string is very short with only 3 attacks. This does good damage, but very little to the stagger gauge. If you hold down the attack button, he will now spin to win. This does very little damage, but it fills the stagger quickly. His unique attack is Vengeance Mode, but by default you can't use this button as he starts at 0 gauge. In order to fill this gauge, you must guard enemy attacks. By default, it takes 20 blocked attacks to fill the gauge. I know that may seem like a lot, but if you perfect block, then you could reduce this to 15. Okay, I know, that's still a lot, and we can reduce that once we go over his abilities. But for now, let's go over his Vengeance form. Once you have enough gauge, Red will transform, doing damage around himself. His unique attack button will now change to Siphon Fang, which does a vertical spin and finishes with a pounce that heals for 5% of his max HP. This will allow him to heal up from all the damage he took, filling his gauge. All his attacks are now enhanced for more damage. Enjoy the power until the gauge depletes. After you block an attack, he can do a counter spin for more damage than his regular attack. Take advantage of this and use it whenever it pops up for free damage. Now that we understand the basics of Red XIII, let's go over his abilities. Sidewinder is a vertical spin with a pounce at the end, just like Siphon Fang. It's best to use this right after a combo string as you'll land all the hits. If you do this just by itself, I found myself whiffing 1 or 2 of the hits, which isn't efficient for ATB usage. Remember when I said we would reduce the amount of block attacks needed to fill the Vengeance gauge? That's where Sentinel Stance comes into play. It will guard all attacks headed your way for the next 4 seconds. Your attack will also change to counter. Try and use this right before the ability wears off for its full value. You may remember Stardust Ray from Final Fantasy Remake. It's a big circle that does damage to anyone in its radius, and then has lingering missiles to hit anyone who's alive. It's the only ability to cost 2 ATB, so be mindful of your resources. Crescent Claw does good damage on its own, but it has an interesting requirement for more damage. If used while in Vengeance form, it will deal even more damage, but you exit Vengeance form. So it's advised to use right before you are about to leave for a lot of damage without any of the negatives of Crescent Claw. Now that you know what his abilities do, let's go over which materia you should use for maximum efficiency. I won't be touching on the generic stuff anyone can use, as we want to get the most out of Red XIII's kit. Since he'll be guarding a lot of damage to fill his Vengeance gauge, we'll want HP up to tank more hits, while increasing the heal from Siphon Fang. Steadfast Block was literally made for him, as it further reduces the damage he takes while guarding, while filling his ATB gauge. A new materia in Rebirth is Precision Defense Focus, which allows you to perfect block easier, and it also increases the stagger bar once leveled up. Now that you know which materia you should be equipping, let's go over his synergy skills. Wild Charge can be used with anyone. He charges forward while blocking the whole time, so if he does take any damage, then it's counted as a block. This allows him to take on the offense while being defensive and building his Vengeance gauge. This has no cooldown, so use it to your heart's content for an easy way to max out your gauge. Hopefully this video helped you understand how to play Red XIII, and if you're wondering why I didn't cover his weapons or equipment, it's because the demo doesn't allow me to change them. I'll be covering everything once the game fully releases, so consider subscribing to see more. And if you enjoyed this video, consider checking out this one right here. Until the next video, I'll see ya.